My name is Toyosi. My full name is Toyosi Alabi. I'm a Nigerian, born and raised for the most part in Nigeria. I'm a legal practitioner in the law firm of Olaniwun Ajayi LP, with offices in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and London. And I'm the partner in charge of intellectual property law, as well as entertainment, media, and leisure law. My parents are were career driven and very highly self-driven, and always pushed all of us, my siblings and I, to ensure that we attained the best of education and we got to the pinnacle of our career. And I saw that in their own example, as they were civil servants who rose to the peak of their career. And that was highly motivating for me. They were also very prayerful and encouraged me to be the best of what God wanted me to be. So I will start by saying that I have worked in 2 law firms since I started practicing law about nearly 26 years ago. I worked in a previous firm for 10 years where I was an associate and a senior associate, and crossed over to Olaniwun Ajayi as a senior associate, and then journeyed on to being a partner. Essentially, 3 main requirements, I would say, for partnership in Olaniwun Ajayi, and that also is what obtains in a lot of other law firms, even globally. One is chemistry. Partnership is like a marriage. And so one major element is whether there's chemistry between the partner being admitted and the rest of the partnership, and vice versa. Now, this is not something you learn in business school, and certainly not in practice, but it's essentially ensuring that you buy into the culture of the firm, you're able to own that culture, own the vision, and align yourself with that spirit of ownership to ensuring that you basically work with the firm as your own. And I think that really sorts out the chemistry. The second is what is typically required, which is the technical competence in an area of specialism that the firm can entrust to a partner to build as part of the business of the firm. In my case, that was intellectual property. And thirdly would be what we call the extracurricular requirements, the softer skills, managerial skills, good administrative skills, and very importantly, business development skills. So those are the requirements, and I found myself having to tick the boxes as I've gone along up until the time I became a partner. Let me start by saying what I didn't face to help put it in context. I am in a merit-driven organization, so I didn't face the challenge of having to prove myself in terms of my competence, gender-wise. I would say that the 2 difficulties about being a partner in across gender environments is the business development aspect, one of it, which is essentially knowing that I have to build business, and the owners of various businesses are both male and female, and having to market directly or indirectly can be very challenging, particularly in our climate, because of some cultural connotations about basically relating with the opposite gender. So sometimes it does pose a challenge because there's a limit to how far I'll be able to go in terms of socializing, which wouldn't be the case if I were male. Another one, which is not so much created by the organization, but it's really societal, is the fact that whilst men and women in our firm are seen as equal when it comes to competence and performance and assessment of performance, when it comes to basically claiming what we'll call benefits and entitlements, there's a subtle inference culturally in Nigeria and possibly other parts of Africa about the fact that the males are the breadwinners of the home, and so they're highly more justified in claiming their own entitlements than the females. So a lot of us females who grew up in that socio-cultural setting are a little bit more bashful about claiming benefits and entitlements than our male counterparts. So those are the ones I would say have been subtle challenges, but they're definitely challenges that can be overcome. I would say that in the face of the firm, I haven't had to work harder than my male counterparts, but I would say that externally, i.e. in client facing, and particularly in relation to business development, I have had to put in a lot more in terms of strategy when it comes to marketing or trying to win business. I have had to be a lot more strategic. I have had to ensure that in some cases, I basically have to call on other partners or colleagues to assist in ensuring that I am able to achieve my goal. So not so much work internally, but more of the work externally. So I definitely would say yes, I have had challenges balancing, but in my own case, it wasn't at the partner level, it was in the journey. I actually started family life out very early. So I was a mom as an associate. I actually got married before I started practicing law. I got married not too long after school. And I found out that it was challenging for me raising a family and having to work, and something had to give. And what gave for me was, one, my own me time in order to have some balance between work and family. And I also knew that I sacrificed my learning process and my self-development at the early stages because I had to put in the needed time for my family. So I know that if I had got married much later, I probably would have done a lot more in terms of knowledge development and just self-development at the earlier stages. But it was the other way around. But I have no regrets. I love the fact that I poured my time into my family in those early stages. I must say though that you would find out that there's some counterparts, female counterparts of mine who were single at the time I was raising a family and possibly made partner earlier than I did. I made partner well into my 30s, my late 30s. I'll say my advice would be yourself, be the best of yourself. Don't try and emulate someone else because you may be running on somebody else's lane or put yourself on somebody else's journey. Because we all have, different lanes, different styles, different skill sets, different races to run. So run your own race, do your best. Don't let anyone inhibit you. Don't second guess yourself. Be bold. I actually wish I was a lot bolder. Be bold. See the world as gender neutral in your approach to life and be bold. So I have to correct something I said earlier. I actually made partner in my 40s, not late 30s. Excuse my maths. And it doesn't really matter how long. It's important to just make sure that you're steady and you're doing it well. And when in doubt, do call on other partners who have journeyed ahead of you to ask for their advice. It's always good to learn from other people, even though their race is different, from yours. But there are no inhibitions and there are no boundaries. Just keep going. So beyond my career, there's some passions I have that I have been feeding even whilst practicing law. And I hope to hone those passions and develop them into a full-blown retirement plan. And that is about building people. So right now, ad hocly and informally, I coach, I counsel, I mediate, and basically give a lot of encouragement and basically coach in people building, particularly younger people. I enjoy it. I'm quite passionate about it. So it's something that I would like to carry on doing beyond the law.